What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. In this video, we are going to be discussing Warlords of Draenor news. And to help me get through all this stuff, we're going obviously from a PvE perspective, but to help me go through all this stuff is going to be Aki, as always. Aki, what's going on, buddy?
Not much, man. I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Yeah, so, guys, to get right into it, because I don't want this to be a super long video, but we had a lot of really juicy information drop today regarding Warlords of Draenor, and what's going to be coming up in the new expansion. And as always, Aki and I, being a little bit more on the hardcore end of the spectrum of raiding, are going to try to really bring you our perspective on the news that's coming out and cover what it really means for the PvE side of stuff. So if we start kind of right here on MMO Champ is where we're at right now. We're going through dungeons. It sounds like dungeons, raids, etc. So they're going to do the same thing they did in Kata. Or not Kata, but in Miss, where, you know, the first week of leveling, you just have to worry about leveling and gearing through heroic dungeons. That's pretty much it. You know, then the second week, the raids will come out. At least that's what I'm reading, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah, I think that's how you interpret it. You got 2 weeks until the raid. Is it 2 weeks until the raid comes out, or is it the
1
second
week?
week
It's the second week the raid comes out, yeah.
Ah, right, okay.
Right, so they'll do the same thing. So you have 1 week to get to 100 and get your gear, and then you'll have, you know, and then all the raids open. Now, the other cool thing that we can draw out of this is it also says that all the difficulties of the raids will be open the first week. So what that means for us Mythic Raiders is we can actually jump into Mythic immediately. Now, obviously, we probably won't. We'll probably go through and gear through the heroic raids and then go into Mythic, I would imagine, just because the gear is going to be better, and you're probably going to need it to get through Mythic raiding. So I would imagine that that first week will be quite a long raid week, to say the least.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? I mean, it's only it's only one raid so far, and it says it has 7 bosses. So 7 bosses might not be terrible.
Nah. I think 10 bosses do. Well, that's good for sort of the first week, and then they're letting the second one out a couple of weeks afterwards, which will have 10.
Which has 10 bosses. Yeah. So yeah. So I mean, I guess if you're a normal guild right now, if you're a guild that's clearing heroics right now, pretty much if you're, you know, top 200 world guild, I would say. You know, it's pretty much going to be business as usual. It's just going to be a little bit different on how you do it. So what you're going to do is you're probably going to go in, and just like a normal thing, you'll go in and you'll kill all the bosses on normal as quick as you humanly can, right? Because what you're going to want to do is get that gear and then hop into Mythic. Now, some of the higher end guilds, I can imagine they're reading this and just being so angry, because this means that not only do they have to gear up their mains and their alts, but now they have to main raid through the gear with their mains and their alts, and then get into Mythic. So it's gonna be quite a time constraint if you're, you know, part of that top % of raiders that is having a main and a main alt. You know, if you're gonna have 2 tunes geared up and ready to go for raids, and have 2 raiding groups pretty much so that you can swap in mains and alts depending on the fight mechanics, you're gonna be putting in some time that first week.
Work, man.
Yeah, because even if you have 1 main alt, that's 20 levels and a whole bunch of bosses. So yeah, I think that's good. I think the way that they're doing it right now is good. So it sounds like we're going to have 17 bosses to start out the first patch. That's plus world bosses, so maybe up to 20. That's good. That's a lot of content. That's what I wanted to see. The LFR obviously will not be open the first week because they want us to experience that with friends. And then it talks about what Ian said, a couple other things. Now, I don't really care about the world bosses too much. But the one thing that I did want to get into is there's a couple things that are going on with Proving Grounds and the level 90 character boost. And this is one of the main things I wanted to get into. Aki, will you cover kind of the level 90 character boost part of it a little bit, and then we'll kind of both delve into the Proving Grounds?
Sure. So with the level, obviously now when getting Warlords of Draenor, you get yourself a free level 90 character boost. And to sort of help people that, you know, might be doing it with a class that they've never sort of played or experienced, like for example, myself with a hunter, I've never played a hunter before, they're going to sort of gradually ease you into the abilities. So they'll give you a few abilities to use. I'm not quite sure how they're going to do it. Maybe it might be like a time-based thing. You know, like they might give you a couple of abilities used for an hour, and then after an hour you get a couple more abilities. But it's designed to sort of ease you in gradually, so that you get an understanding of the class and not just blasted with a whole bunch of abilities going, what do I do with these? You know?
Well, and I think also the reason behind that too is if they do release this 90 character boost before the expansion starts, think about it from any player's perspective. If you're a level 90 and they give you 483 gear, you can literally queue into an LFR without have ever playing the class ever.
Exactly.
So, and I think that's really what they're trying to negate, and especially going forward in Warlords, they're trying to introduce a new player base, and the biggest deterrent from a new player joining is the time it takes to get from 0 to max level. It's an insane amount of time. To play with your friends and to find out if you like the game. That's the reason that you don't see the subs keep pouring in like they used to, is because the game's too old. There's too many levels. It takes too long for a new player to do that. So I think the way that they're gating this, I think, is actually really smart. And segueing into that, this is kind of the biggest news of the whole thing, especially for us PvE people, is the Proving Ground change. What Blizzard is doing is they're saying that if you have a character at max level, they're going to rework Proving Grounds. And if you want to queue with a group, fine. You can queue with a group into a dungeon. Not a problem. However, if you want to queue solely, so you're doing a pure pug run, you have to have at least a silver medal in Proving Grounds in order to queue. Now, Aki, I know my opinion on this, and I'm pretty sure we share the same one. I am ecstatic about this.
I love this. I think this is something that's been needed for a long time, and they just sort of never really had the time to put it in. But now I think it's a really, especially with the level 90 character boost, I think it fits in perfectly. You know, you don't have people getting from 90 to 100 instantly and then just being chucked straight in without understanding how to do anything. So
and you know, guys, I actually some of the footage you'll see in the background is actually from me, because I've never done Proving Grounds ever. So I went through just to see how hard it was to do Proving Grounds, the silver level. And it's not difficult if you've been playing the game. You understand how to move out of the poo, how to not stand in stuff that's flying at your face, and how to, you know, interrupt, you know, be behind the boss. You know, they teach you these subtle mechanics that new players don't pick up on. And a lot of players who are brand new to the game, they don't want to be shitty players. They don't. Like, they just, like, we all were at 1.2. You know what I mean? When we all first started playing this game, we were crap. And now, like, we understand that this is how MMOs work, this is how WoW works. And so to have something gated to where, okay, you've reached max level. If you want to get into these heroic dungeons, awesome. We need you to go do this first. And that's an amazing, amazing thing for them to do. I absolutely am 100% on board with this, because even for me, even for a player who's more experienced, it doesn't take us that long. I think it took me 10-15 minutes to go get my silver. You know what I mean? To go get my silver achievement. So like I
kind of
can pug.
It's that hard.
Right. And so that's the thing, is it's for players who are experienced, it's a trivial matter. You have to do it one time. It'll take you 15 minutes, which is fine in an MMO. We know we're going to have to grind stuff. That's the point, right? I mean, it's time consuming. That's the reason we play the games. So that's not bad. But what it's going to do is those brand new players, it's going to take them a while, and it's going to take them a little bit of struggle and a little bit of class knowledge and having to, oh, well, I can't get by this part. Well, what am I doing wrong? Oh, well, I'm standing in this, and that's why I'm running out of time and failing. Okay, so I need to not stand in this. You know what I mean? And then it teaches them to look for abilities. And going forward into heroic dungeons, into things like LFR, I just honestly think this is an amazing, amazing change that really benefits both the experienced older WoW player and a brand new player coming up. I think it is a great, great change for the game.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's very good overall in all aspects.
And then they also, going down, if we scroll down a little bit further, they asked if they plan to increase the difficulty of heroic dungeons in WoD. Will it be the same as Wrath of the Lich King / MOP, or more in line with Kata? And they said it'll be in between, which I also think will be kind of a bit better balance.
Yeah, I mean, people didn't really like the leveling or the heroic dungeons, in Cataclysm, but I didn't think they were that bad. I like the challenge of them.
Right. I do agree with the one in Stonecore being too hard for a pure pug. That third boss, the big rock boss,
Oh yeah.
I mean, I remember like if there was nights where I was like on an alt or something, and I finally got my guy up, and I was trying to like get a trinket or get something off of the last boss. I had to get through him, and it just—I mean, if you had a pug tank, you were dead in the water.
You were in for a night.
Right. I mean, you were literally. There was times where I'd sit in at that same boss for 45 minutes to an hour just trying to kill one boss.
Well, yeah, right. I mean, remember when we first did it? I think I was tanking at the time, and it took us even a little while to get the hang of like what to do.
Right.
You know? Right. So it was definitely.
And that's what I'm saying from a pure pug perspective. Because here's the problem with the game right now, guys, is you need to be able to just jump in and queue for stuff when you're bored, right? That's the point of the game. But they also don't want it so that everybody can just get in there as quick as humanly possible. They are trying to really make it so that it's challenging, but you can still get through it. They don't want it to be just face roll stupid easy like Wrath of the Lich King dungeons were, but they don't want it to be where, okay, well, we need, you know, to CC these two ads, like Vortex Pit, or like whatever that one was in the water. Where you had to CC the healer, and because you just didn't have the damage to kill it. And then, of course, there was always the one pug who just kept smashing the CC target in the face the whole time. I mean, it was, you know, there was, I do get why Cataclysm Dungeons were a little too hard for just pure pug.
Yeah.
I do understand that. So, like I said, going down, let's see if there's anything else that you really saw. An endgame PvP zone, so there will be a world PvP zone.
A little bit about that. Ian talking about how he really enjoyed the Lei Shen fight, which I think we agreed was the best fight.
Yeah, let me scroll up to that real quick. Yeah, right here. Ian's favorite encounter in Mists of Pandaria is Lei Shen. The mechanics are simple to understand, but hard to counter, and a lot of things are happening that make the fight extremely interesting. The team is very proud of this encounter. You can probably expect bosses in the same style in Warlords of Draenor.
That makes me very happy.
That sentence alone,
like Lei Shen.
Right. Well, and to be honest, I think we all kind of saw this coming with the emergence of Mythic raiding. I really do. And the reason I say that is because in Mythic raiding, there's only one difficulty that they have to tune these fights to. It's not a 10-man versus a 25-man encounter. There's one encounter that matters. There's one encounter that's the hardest encounter in the game for every boss. So they are allowed to tune them more difficult because only the top guilds in the world are going to be in here fighting this stuff.
Exactly.
And these are the guilds that want the challenge. We don't want Morchok, okay? We don't want fights like Immersius. We don't want these fights. These fights suck. None of us like them. They are simple loot pinatas. We want fights where there's personal responsibility, there's team coordination, there's damage plateaus you have to break, there's big healing cooldowns that have to be used. This is the kind of things that make raid team and raiders synergize well, and that's what makes the game, in my opinion, this is what I love to play, is encounters like Lei Shen. So to hear them say the same thing, that they love to make those kind of encounters, and that's the encounters that most high-end raiders love, I think it's a win-win for Blizzard. I think if that's the kind of stuff that they're going after, they're going to have nothing but success going forward in Warlords.
Yeah, it's all sounding very, very promising. Which is nice.
Yeah. And, Aki, is there really anything else in this little news update before...
No, I think that pretty much covers everything in that. There's a little bit about Ashran, which... Even as a PvE, I'm going to be quite interested to try that out.
Yep.
Like an endless battleground, that's going to be pretty fun.
I'm curious to see if it's anything like the SWOTOR PvP fight was.
That'd be fun. So, but otherwise, no, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, the rest of it's sort of just a Q&A, which if you guys want to read through, you can head on over to MMO Chat and read all the details about that, sort of more in depth. But
yeah.
Yeah,
and anyway, guys, what Aki and I are going to do is anytime there's a big breaking news blue post or anything, going forward with dates, releases, big information patches like this on MMO, we're going to cover these for you. And we're going to go through and at least we're going to give you our PvE perspective. Now, again, if you're looking for a PvP perspective, probably not the best place to look. But, because that's not what we care about. But if you are kind of interested in staying on top of the PvP news, go ahead and help us out. Click that subscribe button, that follow button, so you can stay up to date with all the information coming out on it. Aki, is there anything else before we go?
Nope, I think that's it.
All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us, listening to us ramble. I'm curious to see what your guys' thoughts are on all the information that we've covered. Leave it in the comments below. Also, let us know if there's anything else that you want us to cover in the future videos, and we'll be sure to get right on that as well. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, we will see you in the next one. Peace!